Whether we talk about Osho, Neem Karoli Baba, Sadhguru, or even Sant Kabir, every realized being has one thing in common. They all were born with names given by their parents, but none of them are remembered by those names. And by the name they are known, none of them carries a surname. This is because a surname is never just a name. It carries the weight of caste, religion, of family background, and of historical baggage. It tells you where someone comes from and also quietly boxes them into where they belong. But twist comes when they speak. It feels like Vedas are echoing. They chant in Sanskrit. They speak of Shiva, Krishna, consciousness, Atman. And because of all these, people think they are Hindu gurus. Because it sounds like Hinduism, but they all insist that they follow no religion. Even Sant Kabir, born in a Muslim weaver family, but never seemed like following Islam. Is it a contradiction or a doorway to something deeper? Why do these beings seem to reject religion yet embody what all religion aim for? Why do they sound so ancient yet so free of tradition? So today in this video, we will be knowing as to what actually a realized being or gurus follow. Do they follow Hinduism? And if not, why do they speak of Krishna, Shiva or Devi? And how do they know Vedic chants even if someone like Sant Kabir belonged to a totally different tradition? Even many people question Sadhguru that if he hasn't read any scriptures, then how does he know everything? We will be knowing in detail about this in the video. So do watch the complete video. The gurus of India, whether Sadhguru, Sant Kabir, Ramana Maharshi or Osho, often speak the language of consciousness. But it's not because they are following a religion, but it's because they are following Sanatan Dharma. Every realized being talked the same, though the paths and words may differ about the tools that every human being has, that is the body and mind. Yet everybody says the same, that we are neither the body nor the mind. Do you know this is the very root of Sanatan Dharma? But the question comes when they speak of deities that are being worshipped in Hinduism. So let's understand the difference between Sanatan Dharma and Hinduism and why does only Hinduism is linked with Sanatan Dharma, not every religion. Well, first of all, Sanatan Dharma is not any religion. It is the eternal law of existence. It speaks of how the cosmos works, how karma, consciousness and liberation operate. It is not bound to belief or culture. It is cosmic truth, always present. For example, religion speaks of performing good karma, whereas Sanatan Dharma speaks of rising beyond karma, whether good or bad. Because whatever it is a bondage to human consciousness. We can understand this as, imagine a great river flowing through the mountain, cutting through the rocks and touching every life. You can stand at one part and call it Ganga. Somebody else will call it Brahmaputra, somebody else Yamuna, Sindhu or Kaveri. But the source and the water is the same. And that water is Sanatan Dharma, whereas different names are the religions. So if this is so, then why does only Hinduism is linked with Sanatan Dharma? This is because Hinduism is the main living tradition that practices Sanatan Dharma, as it is built entirely upon it as its very foundation. Think of it this way, Sanatan Dharma equals to the eternal science of soul and universe, whereas Hinduism is the cultural framework that applies this science. Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma was never founded by any prophet or any single person. It grew organically from the wisdom of realized being or rishi for thousands of years. It's the only tradition that explicitly says there are many paths to truth. You can worship a rock or meditate or chant or do nothing. What matters is your realization, not your belief. And that's Sanatan Dharma, the eternal laws, not man-made rules. But at the same time, it also speaks of God, rituals, principles, texts, and diverse schools like Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta, Vedantic, etc. There is a room for form worship, formless meditation, Tantra, yoga, devotion, knowledge, all under the sky. And this is the only reason there are so many books in Hinduism, because Sanatan Dharma cannot be compiled in a book. It is not a doctrine, it's a civilization. It doesn't offer one book for all. It offers a path for every type of seeker. Bhakta, Jnani, Yogi, Grihastha, Renunciate, King and Child. So though culturally rooted in Sanatan Dharma, Hinduism is not synonymous to it. It has rituals and festivals, but Sanatan Dharma is the cosmic truth, the way gravity exists, the way consciousness exists. On the other hand, other religions may not directly follow Sanatan Dharma, but some of their core truths may overlap. It is because other religions were started by individuals and they became belief-based. All of them has fixed doctrines and commandments, and they say, God said this, so believe it. And so even when mystics like Rumi or Jesus go deeper, they often got rejected by orthodox people over there. For example, Rumi, though Sufis, spoke of inner fire, stillness, openness, deeply resonant with Advaita Vedanta. Jesus, when seen mystically, lived like a yogi. But the religion formed after them became systems of belief, not tools of transformation. And with this comes the second question, that why do realized beings like Sadhguru, Neem Karoli Baba or any realized being, they gravitate with Hindu gods like Shiva, Krishna, even when they are born outside Hinduism? Now first of all, Guru is the one who has realized the source of existence itself, which is beyond all boundaries, whether someone calls it Shiva, Allah, God or energy. The Guru has touched that dimension where name falls away. So for a realized being, there is no Hindu, Muslim, Christian. There is only life. So they doesn't operate out of identity, but from inclusiveness. And that's why great gurus have disciples from all religion. And yet they guide them into the same experience of the self. Where religion often says, believe and you will know, a guru says, know and then you will believe what is worth believing. He gives tools, not commandments. He is not there to teach you what to think, but how to go beyond thought. And so, he may use a form like Shiva, Krishna, Hanuman, not because they represent any religion, but because Shiva is not a person. He is a dimension of stillness, nothingness, the first yogi. And Shiva is not someone up there. He is what happens when nothing remains in you, when you are completely aware. Krishna is not just a deity. He represents the fully flowered consciousness, the playful mastery over life. When they speak of living in the world, yet untouched, dancing through life, being loving, without any attachment, that's Krishna consciousness. When someone touches these dimensions, they often see, feel and reverberate through these forms naturally, even if they never believed in them before. But their goal is to dissolve all form so that we can experience the formless, because they experience inner realities like stillness, consciousness, what Sanatan Dharma describes. And so for a realized being, sin isn't about breaking religious laws, it's about missing the truth. Sadhguru himself says that the real sin is to live in ignorance of your true nature. So a guru is like fire who burns religion, ego, karma and ignorance. And so you don't become Hindu when you realize the self, you become universe. But the language of that universe has always been Sanatana. And once one is realized, they drop their identity, they live in oneness and speak their cosmic truth. And often resonate with concepts like Shiva, Shakti, Atma, Dharma and Moksha, because these describe their experience more accurately. They don't choose Sanatan Dharma, it rises within them once they touch the truth. And so now comes the second question, that how to realize being knows everything even if they haven't read any scriptures? Well, before answering this question directly, do you know that Vedas are Shruti? That means they were heard directly in meditative states by rishis. And it was only during the late Dwapar Yuga, when human memory started declining, it was compiled into 4 Vedas by Vedvyas. Secondly, Upanishads are the essence of Vedas. That means a deep conversation between Guru and disciple about Atman, about self, Parambrahm and Moksha. Because not everyone can sit in silence or meditation and read Vedas, Puranas were written using stories, legends to convey deeper truth in emotional, relatable ways, so that even a simple villager would chant Ramayana and feel the divine. And so when Arjuna was also in confusion in battlefield, Krishna also showed him the true nature of the universal consciousness. And so many realized beings seem to speak the essence of Sanskrit wisdom without formally learning it, because realization aligns you with the same truth the Vedas spoke. Vedas, Upanishads or Gita were not written by any thinkers. They were received by those in deep meditative absorptive states. And so when someone gets realized today, they too touch the same source. So the same truth comes out. That's why Sant Kabir, even though he was illiterate, he sang truths that match the Mandukya Upanishad. Sadhguru consecrated different deities that exactly match the Rasha Shastra. The language, the metaphors and truths they speak often match Upanishadic verses, because the truth is one, whether exists in 1000 BCE or today. And why Sanskrit? Because it is the language of cosmic resonance. When someone gets realized, the inner beings get tuned to subtle vibration. And so they may not know Sanskrit grammatically, but they intuitively grasp the truth that Sanskrit points to. Osho said that Sanskrit is not just a language, it's the silence of the soul made into sound. J. Krishnamurti never formally studied Vedas or Sanskrit, yet his teachings often mirror Neti Neti, Vairagya, self-inquiry, all found in Upanishads. So Sanatan Dharma doesn't say one size fits for all. It offers 1000 doorways. Each soul can find their own. Some are devotional, that is bhakti. Some are intellectual, that is jnana. Some is very active, that is karma. And some meditative, that is Raj Yoga. And therefore, gurus follow Sanatan Dharma, not any religion. And with this, hope you all got the answers to both the questions and it added some meaning to you. And if yes, do not forget to share this video with your friends and family. And if it added some meaning to you, do like and subscribe too. Up to next, stay safe, healthy, happy, and namaskaram.